To me, the role of the Alliance is to be the independent voice of sport. And they can say things which you can't when you're absolutely centrally funded by government. And I think that's an absolutely vital role, that you represent 300 bodies of sport and active recreation. That is really important that they have this role.
And that was possible only by a body like the CCPR. But it also had the effect of recognising we were a fellowship. I believed that fellowship ran all the way through the CCPR, the men and women who volunteered their services, which made it a cut above other institutions. The key figure of all was His Royal Highness Prince Philip.
It was a personal joy to meet on a regular basis with our President, Prince Philip, in his office in Buckingham Palace, and ensure that the progress we were making was to his content.
If he thought something was important, he would give time. He understood what was needed, and I think he also understood the importance of an independent voice of sport.
He was absolutely vital to me, to the survival of the Sport and Recreation Alliance. Without his support, we wouldn't be here today.
Philip Noel Baker, he must be mentioned as one of the outstanding servants that made the CCPR a gift to the nation. He, Lord Dennis Howell, and these were men who, especially with the late Prince Philip, made the CCPR a force to be reckoned with. I think what came across inevitably was the enthusiasm and talent and sheer practical knowledge that representatives of the different sports brought to the Outdoor Pursuits Division.
Well, I joined the CCPR around the turn of the century in 2000. In that time, we got involved in influencing the government over the Countryside Rights of Way Act, the CROW Act, in 2000, which we played a fairly large part in. And nothing that's important is simple. And, we have to work hard to ensure that we keep banging the drum about things like this, like basic fitness.
Well, I didn't really have a role because it was 1955. My mother took me to a festival of movement and dance in Wembley, and it made me realise how much more there was to dance than ballet. So I found it very exciting. Seeking to find a way to dance, I got involved with the organisation which is now called FL Exercise, but it was the Women's League of Health and Beauty. The organisation had been one of the first members of the CCPR. I suppose personally the most exciting things were to produce the festivals of movement and dance at the Royal Albert Hall. So that was bringing me full circle from my 15-year-old self. I really relished and was very grateful to have the opportunity to be in right at the beginning of the Women in Sport movement.
Gradually, I got involved more with the CCPR and in the Movement and Dance Division, and was a vice chair. And later, I was chair for 13 years, which would never happen nowadays, quite rightly. It's much more in the media these days. People follow women's sport. We did get exercise and movement into schools. It was compulsory, and they all work better for it. The teachers said it's wonderful because they arrive and they'll sit down and they'll breathe and they will start work. Well, the biggest change has been that movement and dance is accepted now and women's sport is accepted now.
In terms of achievements of what we have achieved over the last 90 years, I mean, in policy terms, the introduction of community amateur sports clubs, CASCs as we would describe them, which allow those that own property to have business rate relief and for all of them to reclaim gift aid, has to me allowed so many community clubs to survive and to go forward. And in a year when we had women who won England football, won the Euros, England women's rugby, won the World Cup, I think the work it's done to
make the case for diversity and for women's sport has also been vital, and I'm sure that will continue in the future.
Actually, I'm sure I was enriched far more by the whole experience than I gave to the organisation, but I've been extremely lucky and very fortunate.
I'm certain, by the very nature of sport and recreation itself, it will attract men and women with the same attributes that their forebears had, and it will go on to even greater achievements. That's my hope, and I'm very proud indeed to be a senior vice president of the organisation.
It's nice to be able to feel part of the family still, and it is still a family.